Howdy, guys. Welcome to 2021. Yay. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. A good Monday evening to all of y'all. I'm so happy to be here doing this show. Seems like I haven't seen y'all in forever. I haven't talked to y'all since last year, right? It never gets old. There is. Hey, welcome to Cliff Notes. Let me start off as I always do. SKD 143. Let me pull my thing in a little bit. I don't see my stairs behind you, but that doesn't mean that much. Hope everyone's been fantastic. Oh, you can see my couch behind me too. Oh, well, it's going to have to do tonight. Hope everyone's doing it fantastic. Again, a good Monday evening. Oh, I kind of screwed up my whole effect. Oh, well. Hey, I got half a green screen. For those of you who don't know, I'll just point out to you. Do y'all recognize those people up there? My little green screen I put up in honor of Gilligan's Island. I put up a Gilligan's Island back screen because unfortunately last week we lost Dawn Wells, who played Mary Ann in Gilligan's Island. I used to watch that show so much. That was my coming home from school favorite every time I was in there. Let me switch this over here. Come home, watch Gilligan's Island, Leave It to Beaver, and the Brady Bunch. Those were the three shows as a child of the 70s, of the 80s that we watched every time. Yeah, Ma, I screwed up my green screen. Wonder if I could fix that. All this technical everything. Ooh, the magic. Yeah, so in case y'all thought I was really at the lagoon, maybe not so. There you go. See ya. I got it all figured out. Now, you know what's funny about Gilligan's Island, besides just the fact I watched it forever, when they filmed Big Brother, the stage we were at, it was in Burbank at their studios. I think y'all all know that, where the Big Brother house is located. Just down the street, just a little ways from where I was at, was the lagoon for Gilligan's Island. Now, I think they since filled it in. I know they since filled it in. So it's not there anymore. They built stuff on top of it. But still, I did spend some time while I was inside that house thinking about the fact that right here where I am, you know, they filmed all these shows that I grew up with as a kid watching it. And now I'm in the same general area and doing my own thing. And it was kind of cool. It was kind of my connection with the past. No one will be able to watch Gilligan's Island with me anymore from this point on, because every time they do, I'm probably going to say, hey, y'all see that lagoon? I was right next to that lagoon for an entire summer. How cool would it have been if they kept it? They could have done some Big Brother challenges there at the lagoon. And, you know, there's people like Sis who says that she'd never watched Brady Bunch and some of those old time shows. So it may not have meant anything special to her. But if they put me in that lagoon and said, yeah, Cliff, the challenge is to swim across it and swim back or something, I don't care if I would have won or not. I would have been in seventh heaven. That would have been so much fun. But anyway, so in honor of Dawn Wells, is an appropriate backdrop this evening. I read a thing that said the only person left from Gilligan's Island that still is around is Ginger. And for the life of me, I can't remember what her name is now. I'm sure one of y'all may know, but yeah, she's the only one left. But anyway, so tribute to Gilligan's Island. So what else is going on? I really wasn't planning to spend the Tina Louise. All right, thank y'all so much. Tina Louise was that. Let's see. What was the jury house like? Ben Morrison asked. I don't know. I never went there, Ben, because here's the thing. And I didn't know. I'm a fan of Big Brother, but I didn't realize that the fourth place person, when they're evicted, because it's so close to the finale and the jury roundtable and all that, we didn't go to the Big Brother house. I never got a chance to see it. Tommy was the last person evicted that actually went to the jury house. He spent a week there, and then they all came back afterwards, and we were at sequester locations for the last week before the finale itself. So I don't know. It would have been fun to see, just to walk around and see, but I much rather would have preferred that extra week I had in the house. So I'm okay with it. I think it would have driven me crazy as well. Yeah, when you're inside the house, you're dealing with everyone. You're playing a strategy game 24 hours a day and all that. That's fine. Once I was booted, I have a feeling I would have gotten that jury house and just said, just let me read a book or something. Let me just chill out and cool down and decompress without all of y'all still running around and screaming and hollering and all that. So no, I didn't see the jury house is the short answer, Ben, but I'm okay with that. Would you ever do Big Brother again? Fletcherito said, yeah, I've said before, just make the call. I'm there in a heartbeat. I got to talk to my wife. It's not an individual decision. It's a family decision. But yeah, I certainly would consider it. And thank you for cheering me on. Yeah, Tina Louise, thank you so much. All right, so what else is going on besides Gilligan, besides the loss? And then I heard, all right, I don't know if y'all heard, but Tanya Roberts They announced that she had passed away, I guess, last night or today. I don't know if y'all know who she is. She's a little bit old school. I remember because she was one of the replacement Charlie's Angels. Farrah Fawcett left, then Cheryl Ladd left, and I think then at that point Tanya Roberts came on. And I used to watch that show all the time. That and Love Boat. That was my Wednesday night on ABC. But they announced that she passed away, and then they came back and said, well, maybe she's not quite dead yet. She's still hanging around. That sounds like a Monty Python episode, but we hey, we almost lost her, so we will see on that. But glad that she's still okay. Well, let's move on to something else. All right, so what is going on today? Well, I always started off with a little bit of an informational session for all you guys, and today is national, and this is a legit. Some of these I give out are a little strange. You wonder who came up with them, but this one makes sense. Today is National Trivia Day. Yes, indeed. I love my trivia. I have told y'all before, we watch Jeopardy almost every day, and we play along with it and everything else. We did have fun a couple of years ago, Sharon and I, because my son Daniel worked as a trivia DJ. He went all across different bars and had his set up and would do trivia contests in the bars, and just the bars would bring him in and do that. And Sharon and I, whenever he would do it in the Houston area, lots of times we would go attend these things. Like he used to do at Top Golf, the golf range. He'd do that once a week down here. And Sharon and I would go along, and we'd find a booth. We'd order a couple of beers, and just enjoy the trivia. He did not give us any of the answers. I don't know. I don't think he even had the answers until he actually did the show itself, because it was a national group and all that. So we didn't have any help or anything else, but we won about half the time. Just Sharon and I, we know our trivia, and we've been together long enough that we know. Sharon's good at the entertainment trivia, things like that. I'm good at some of the geography and history and some of those things. So we won a lot of competitions. We got some gift cards and things like that. But it's just a fun way to spend an evening. It was always funny though, because there'd be a group of 20-somethings all drinking it up and having a blast. Sharon and I are over in the corner having some nachos and a couple of beers, and we're getting almost every answer right. And they were all like, who are these people? So yeah, we always had fun with the trivia. So welcome National Trivia Day. Go out and watch an extra episode of Jeopardy or something to celebrate. All right, let's see. Cindy, hey Cindy, how are you doing? I know you were a little under last week, but yes, she's Tanya Roberts is still alive. So that sounds like a Saturday Night Live episode. I don't know if y'all remember, but Chevy Chase used to do the Weekend Update, and he'd do things like, this just in, Idi Amin is still dead. I'm showing my age here. But all right, so National Trivia Day. It is also National Spaghetti Day. So for those of you who have some pasta laying around, cook up an extra pot of it. Enjoy it this evening. I love spaghetti. Sharon fixes spaghetti. It is fantastic. I love it regular. Now, I don't know if y'all saw me in the house. Every meal that had any kind of pasta and a lot of other things, I'd always put balsamic vinegar on. I love my balsamic vinegar to go with it, but I love spaghetti. I was over in Azerbaijan once and had in Baku and ordered squid ink spaghetti. And it was a seafood spaghetti with squid ink in it, so the whole thing was black. After I got through eating, my mouth was all black and everything else, but top notch. Taste-wise, it was fantastic. So National Spaghetti. Now, I do have a little story for you on one of the first times that I tried to create spaghetti, and it didn't go so well. And this would be back in 1989 or so, 88, 89, 89. Sorry, guys, I'm fixing my microphone while I talk to you. In the late 80s, and Sharon and I had just started dating. I was working out in the oil rigs on West Texas. She was here in Houston. First time she ever came out to visit me in West Texas. I wanted to do it upright, so I said, I'll cook dinner for you. I'll have a big old meal waiting when you get here. Now, things kind of fell apart. She actually got there. I had a job that ran late, and I ended up not being able to pick her up from the airport. Had to have someone drive my car there and leave it, and she drove to the park. Hey, you know, way schedules go sometimes. But I finally got off my job. I rushed home and said, all right, I've got the spaghetti that I cooked for you a little earlier. It's in the fridge. I'm gonna warm it up, and it's gonna be great. Well, all right. I didn't have a lot of cooking experience back then. When it said in the recipe to take 2 cloves of garlic, I didn't realize that a clove was that little part of a garlic that's about the size of a marble, the size of your little finger or whatever. That's a clove. I thought when they said clove of garlic, they meant the big thing that's about the size of a tennis ball, from which you produce, 20 cloves or whatever. I thought it was a whole thing. So I bought 2 of those. And by the time I put an entire garlic head, or whatever you call it, inside the spaghetti, I said, there's no way I can put another one in here. This is going to be horrible. This is why I don't know why they said 2. I think one's going to work just fine for us. And so I put an entire thing of garlic in there, and I served it to Sharon. And bless her heart, she took a bite or 2. She took a first bite, stopped for a second. She actually took a second bite as well. About that time, I think, is when I took my bite and said, yeah, I screwed something up on here. And she said, yeah, I think you put a little too much garlic in the spaghetti. But it worked out all right. Threw that out in the trash immediately, went down to the Italian restaurant down the street and ate out instead, and had a nice bottle of wine and enjoyed an Italian feast outside the apartment rather than inside. But I tried. I did what I could. I've never made that same mistake twice. I now know what a clove of garlic is. So live and learn, right? I always try to cook recipes and things. Sometimes I do them better than others. But I'll I always give it a shot. Let's see. Lauren O'Donnell. Let's see. I saw you just a second, Lauren. Let's see. Your whole family's well. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope y'all are as happy as I am that we're in 2021. I mean, 2020 was a rough year for all of us, but you got to focus on the good things. Yeah, it was bad. Work, COVID. There's no getting around that. I'm ready for that year to move on. But on the other hand, both my kids got engaged, and so you gotta think about the highlights and not just focus on the bad stuff. But I'm still ready for 2021, and it was great. Angie, how was your 30th anniversary with Sharon? It was a little laid back, Angie, because we're still COVID, it's still around and still not something we want to mess with. So we stayed here at the house. I know when I was in Big Brother during the audition, they said, so Cliff, you're getting ready to celebrate your 29th wedding anniversary. What are you going to do for your 29th with Sharon? And I said, well, it depends on if I win Big Brother or not. I think I may have said this before. If I win Big Brother, we're hitting the town. We're going out and doing a lot of stuff. Otherwise, we'll just see what happens. And I said at the time, but I may just wait until our 30th because that's such a big. I did talk about that last week. But no, we didn't end up doing anything. We stayed here. We stayed here at the house. We had some bottles of wine and cooked a real nice meal. We actually put on some country western music and danced a little bit in the living room. So it was great. At the end of the evening, we actually went outside. We've got a little chimney, a fire pit back there. So it's just nippy enough, cold enough down here in Houston that we got the fire going. We sat around the fire. We drank another bottle of wine. And we had a fantastic celebration. We didn't travel off to Cabo or Hawaii or anything like that. Maybe we'll have to do that next year. Because of COVID and stuff, we played a little easy. But as long as she's there with me, it was still a perfect wedding anniversary. So that worked out just fine. All right, so spaghetti. Yes, so we talked about that. What else is going on? All right. I missed the big one. I hope all of y'all had a good New Year's celebration. It's funny for us because my history, our tradition in our family has always been to typically celebrate Christmas here in Houston with wife, the kids, just the core family here, and then heading up to my parents' house up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area where Sharon and I would normally celebrate our wedding anniversary, and then the whole extended family would hang out at my parents' house for the actual New Year's celebration. Well, we didn't do that this year. We didn't want the big family gathering. I've got some people in extended family who've come down with COVID. I also have some extended family who've gotten the COVID vaccination. So balance those things out. Man, I hope we're over the hump. I hope with the vaccinations, even though it seems a little slow for people to get vaccinated, I hope we're past the worst part. I'm not sure we're quite there yet, but I hope we're getting close. So yeah, we said, we're just going to stay here. We're just going to celebrate New Year's here at the house instead. So we watched all the TV channels. And I got to say, New Year's Eve is just not the same without the million people on Times Square or whatever. We watch all the different TV programs and all of that. And I just kind of felt sorry for the people. They still had those little pins set up. And you'd see just a couple of people in a pin isolated 20 or 30 feet from the next one, waving a little inflatable thing and celebrating the New Year's. It's just not the same without the vast crowds and everything going there. But we watched all the shows, and I gotta say, even without any crowds there, the ones I watched, I don't know what ones y'all watched, if y'all did. The ones we watched that we really enjoyed were Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper. And I don't even know what channel that they were broadcasting from, but they were having fun. They didn't need anyone else. They were doing a little drinking. They were doing a lot of talking. They had Snoop Dogg on at one point and asking him lots of questions about where he had taken in various activities. Anderson Cooper had a whole laughing fit. It kind of was a lot of fun watching that on New Year's Eve. So we did that. In honor of New Year's Eve, we drink wine every once in a while and beers and things like that. But in honor of New Year's Eve, we also bought a bottle of champagne. And I had the bottle of champagne, but I kind of forgot to put it in the refrigerator until about 9 o'clock or so. So we're a little tight on a time. So I just threw it in the freezer. Alcohol, I can't freeze. So I threw it in the freezer, figured I'd pull it out right at midnight, be nice and chilled and perfect. Well, about a quarter till midnight, I got it ready. I popped the top off. I was a little surprised when I popped the cork off the top that I didn't have any champagne spill out at all. The cork didn't even go that far. But, don't think anything about it. I set it on the table, figuring, all right, well, come back in 15 minutes and we'll pour our glasses. We'll celebrate the New Year's. And what I didn't realize is champagne had frozen up just a little bit. It created a little bit of a cork of its own made out of ice and champagne in the neck of the bottle. And over 15 minutes, it melted just enough that now the pressure inside the bottle started coming out. And I walk into the kitchen and I see just foam spilling out over the champagne bottle. Not fast, just a slow foam coming out all over the table itself. And so I had to rush over and grab hold of it, take it over to the sink, try to clean everything up, and blew on a little bit, warmed it with my hands, and eventually, right before midnight, it warmed up enough that I could pour it into our champagne glasses. And so we had the coldest champagne you could possibly get or imagine, with its own homemade ice cubes, in fact, sitting in our champagne glasses. But it was done just in time for the New Year, which tells me that 2021 is going to be perfect. It started off just the way we wanted it to. Hey, 2020 is where the stuff overflowed. Once we got into 2021, we drank it. It's fantastic. And so that's a good sign, right? But yeah, the lesson learned. Just because it's got alcohol in it doesn't mean it still can't freeze. You'd think I'd know that after so many years, but live something all the time. Ma saying, I watched Snoop Dogg's live stream, Anderson Cooper, Andy Cohen at the same time. It was so weird. They both came together. Oh, because you're watching both shows at the same time. I wasn't watching Snoop by himself. I was just watching the other guys, but they were a fun little trio to having that up on that stage talking New Year's. So it was great. Happy 2021 to you as well, JP. I'm trying to go through the deals just a bit. Cindy started online classes in forensic psychology. Wow. That's it. I've heard forensic sciences and things like that, which CSI and some of those classes, but forensic psychology, is that like that's like studying Hannibal Lecter stuff right there? It's somewhere along those lines. That sounds very interesting. Maybe it's just as well that I hope you don't. I hope our paths don't ever cross in terms of your professional expertise and anything involving me, because I have a feeling you're going to see some interesting, as many experiences as I've gone through with my job, traveling all over the world. Cindy, I think you may have even better experiences by the time you get through with it. I can only imagine some of the stuff a job like that would probably entail. All right, let's see. What else? All right. Am I still here? I think I'm still here. I'm still here. I just want to know if y'all know I'm still here. I may have accidentally shut off from the screen just a little bit while I was trying to turn up my my screen just a little bit so I could read y'all's notes, because I realized that last week I was able to blame it on getting an eye exam. This week I think I'm just gonna have to blame it on not seeing the screen that well. Amanda Lowe, do you and Nicole keep in touch? Y'all are my two favorites. Well, thank you, Amanda. Yeah, we talk. We haven't talked as much since the new year. She and I said, yeah, we need to call each other, get an update. We talk by text and things like that. I tried to send out everyone a Happy New Year's, Merry Christmas message, something along those lines. But yeah, I want to talk to Nicole. I want to get the inside scoop on her interview that she did with Julie Chen, because that was pretty cool that she was able to get Julie doesn't normally do interviews, so that was cool. All right, let's see. Let me scoot on up and see some of these. Let's see. There's 2 minutes. Let's see. January 6th is Julie's birthday. I saw that, Carl, somewhere. Yeah, maybe I need to send her a little birthday greeting as well. Let's see. Yeah, Anthony, it was a bit of a garlic flavor. All right, guys, I'm just forensic psychology. Oh, Lauren O'Daniel. What do you think about Julie wanting to host as many seasons as Bob Barker on The Price is Right? Think it's possible for the show to be successful? I hope so. I hope she hosts that many seasons, just because that means Big Brother's going to last. Lord, how long did Bob Barker do The Price is Right? I can only imagine how long that would be. I'm all for it. Now, yes, and I do think Big Brother could last that long, because everything I've always heard is that Big Brother is relatively, someone's going to call me out and say, you're completely wrong. I've always heard that reality shows are cheaper to produce than the sitcoms, the drama shows, and all of that. So, because I get cheap people on the show like me instead of friends who ask for $1 million an episode. They didn't pay me $1 million that episode. No, nowhere close to that. Yeah, so I could see it going on for a long time, but I'm curious how it's going to change between now and, say, Big Brother's still on 20 years from now. Are we going to be satisfied with just the live feeds like we have right now, that you get to pick 1 or 2 channels? I don't think so. I think you're going to get to a situation where there may be 100 cameras in that house, and you'll be able to just pick and choose which camera you want to go to. You'll be able to click that button. It'll just follow old Boss Hogg everywhere he goes, or an individual person, or just stay on whoever's the loudest. I don't know how it works. I could see a lot of changes. I could see, as people watch it, as technology improves, I could see maybe more and more people getting involved somehow, where you would have instantaneous voting. America's voting. Come eviction night, people. It's just like American Idol or some of the others. People are immediately voting to do different things to different people. And I don't know. I think you'll see a lot of changes, but the core idea of watching a bunch of people living their life, I think you'll continue to see that in some form or manner. Lord, we've had it since the 80s or so. Real World, late 80s, early 90s. So we're going on 40 years right now, or I guess 30 years. But yeah, I could see it going on. But I do think we'll see some changes as we go through the years. Cliff's older than Julie. Well, thank you, Carl, for pointing that. Yeah, I kind of do that. That's all right. I celebrate the age. I'm happy to have gotten here. You know, the alternative isn't quite as cool. So no, I have no problem with that. Yeah, so lucky that I am not cleaning out my freezer now because of that champagne. You were right. Oh, how horrible would that have been? Now, and I don't know what happens. It blows up in your freezer. Does it just freeze then? And every time I open the freezer door, I get a little bit of a drip. I don't know. That would have been bad. So yeah, we drank the champagne just in time. All right, let's see. My first miscue of the year. Forget it's 21, not 20. I don't write checks anymore. In this day and age of credit cards and debit cards and everything else, I just don't typically write it out the way I used to. But I got to say, I've actually already typed it. I had it typed in wrong when we started the show. I had to change it up real quick. So yeah, I've done that. I'll do that for the next month before I finally get used to it. Colby, what was the moment in the Big Brother house? Oh, I don't know. Colby, for me, it was winning the battle back. Is getting evicted. I don't know. I'll put a step further. It wasn't, maybe it was the battle back, but winning HOH just a few hours later was kind of the icing on the cake. You know, what a night. What an amazing night. At that point, I said, I can go home tomorrow. I didn't want to go home tomorrow. And I knew once I won HOH, I wasn't going home tomorrow, but I could say I could go home next week. And at least I've done something that I know is going to just make me stand out a little bit. People won't forget who I was a couple of years from now. So that was the moment for me, Colby, that I knew I'd kind of arrived. I'd made my mark, win or lose. I'd made my mark. So that was fantastic. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna scoot on down. Let's see. Yes, very lucky, Kelly, that we're not cleaning out the freezer. All right, JP. You watched Poseidon Adventure for my New Year's Eve movie. Timed it just right. All right, guys. I hadn't planned to talk about it, but Poseidon Adventure, one of my all-time favorite movies of all time, as I said. I don't know what made my parents think to take us to see that movie. When did it come out? 74, somewhere around there. So I was about 9 years old, something like that. But my parents took us to see that movie. And I still remember the logo, the Poseidon Adventure. It's hell upside down. I still remember the song, There's Got to Be a Morning After, by Maureen McCormick, I think. I don't know. See, I know a little bit about the show. I watch that show. I still watch it every time it comes on TV. And I go through my head, how would you survive? And I'd be like the little kid. I'd be running up that Christmas tree. I don't want to spoil it for y'all, but yeah, how the 46 years or somewhere around there, over 40 years since that movie came out. If you haven't seen it by now, I'm not too worried about spoilers. I give you this little bit. Not everyone makes it. Yeah. But no, I've spent so much time thinking how I would survive if that ship turned upside down, and what I'd do and everything. I love the Poseidon Adventure, and that started a whole slew of movies all about disasters, and which is kind of weird because I think the first movie I ever went to see that was kind of in that genre was Airport. And it had Dean Martin, and I don't remember, did it have Katharine Hepburn? I don't remember, but it had Dean Martin in there. And it's all about a guy who just walks onto an airplane with a briefcase loaded up with bombs and blows up a hole in the plane, and they have to try to land and all that. And it's such a foreign concept that someone could just, yeah, here's my suitcase of TNT. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to get on the plane. Nowadays, you just can't do it like that. But back then, no big deal. We didn't think about it so much. But we watched that. And then we watched the Poseidon Adventure. And suddenly everything, the Towering Inferno, Earthquake, the Hindenburg, and I saw them all. What is it about disaster movies that excites people so much or makes them so curious about it? And it kind of segues into something else I'll tell you about. I've been watching a couple of shows that I was going to talk about a little later, but this is a perfect time. So thank you for the question or comment or whatever, JP. I watched last week 2 different shows. I watched The Stand on CBS All Access. That's not a plug. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I love The Stand. I love the miniseries from '94. So I was so excited to watch this one. There's 3 episodes out there. I watched the first 2 episodes. For those of you who don't know, The Stand is all about a pandemic called Captain Trips. It's a flu. It's an influenza that moves through the entire world, and lethality is 99.9%. Yeah, it kills all but just a handful of people and everything. I'm not going to give any spoilers to it, but I'll just, that's the intro. Yeah, that's not really a spoiler. It's all about a virus that just starts to wipe out humanity. Well, watching the first 2 episodes, I got to say there's a lot of parallels between that and COVID. Not obviously, it's what we're dealing with isn't nearly as lethal as what this virus in the movie is. But the way people are responding and thinking, and I don't know, there's just a lot of comparisons watching that. The other show I watch, which y'all probably have never heard of, but I'll give you a little thumbs up on it so far. It's on Netflix, and it's called To the Lake. Now, it's made in Russia. It's in Russian. They've got English subtitles on the bottom, so it's a little obscure. Not something that you're just going to gravitate to automatically. But I love those kind of shows just to see how other cultures operate and everything. But it's all about a huge pandemic that's hitting Moscow. For all we know, it's a whole world. Don't know. But it's about a bunch of Russians who are trying to get out of the city of Moscow and escape to a safe refuge. And so they're trying to get away. And of course, there's people infected and military and everything trying to create issues for them. And so I watch that as well. But that all gets back to your comment, JP, about Poseidon Adventure and the disaster movies back then. And then I remember in the 80s, there were so many movies about getting attacked, nuclear war in the 70s as well. Nuclear war with Russia and everything else. And it just makes me think that sometimes our greatest fears that we may have at that point in time get translated into the movies that are being put together as well. We had all the disaster movies. Then with the Cold War, we had movies about Russia. And now suddenly with the pandemic, we're seeing all these movies that people are interested in and about the virus and illnesses and all of that. And I don't know, maybe watching that, it makes us think, well, hey, I don't have it so bad here. Or it makes us think about how you could survive if it just got a little bit worse. It's just interesting mental exercises. I don't know why I'm enjoying watching those shows so much right now, but maybe I don't know if it has anything to do with the pandemic, or I just gravitate towards those battles for survival. And is someone going to be strategic and smart enough to make it to the next day and all those things? Because it started way back with the Poseidon Adventure, and I got to say I love that show. So, well, congratulations, JP. That's a great show to watch on New Year's, and I wouldn't have thought about it until you mentioned it. But now I'm going to have that freaking song stuck in my head all night long. Just got to be a morning after. Hey, I may put it on YouTube just so y'all can get it stuck, earworm just like I've got as well. Ma saying, I remember watching movies because our power went out for 2017 New Year. Ooh, that sounds. The only time the power went out in our house, because we don't have all the snow and ice that other folks have. Only time the power went out in our house was on New Year's back in 1999, rolling over to the year 2000, because it was all about Y2K. The fear that once that we went to the year 2000, the computers were all going to just have a fit. They were going to freeze up. Everything was going to shut down. The world would come to an end as we know it, because the computers didn't know how to handle flipping over from 99 to 00. So Y2K is getting close. Well, when New Year's came, I may have taken a real quick break to run into the kitchen to get something, and just continued on to the breaker box and shut down the power to the whole house, just to watch my entire family freak out, thinking that Y2K was happening and that we were all in a world of hurt. And so I flip off the power, and I hear everyone inside going, oh no, oh no. And then I hear, I think it was my mom saying, how come the power's on at the neighbor's next door? And then the next thing I hear her say is, where's Cliff? Where's Cliff? What's he doing right now? So she knew who to suspect. She pointed the finger, and so I just started laughing, said, all right, yeah, maybe I had a little something to do with it. But hey, I got their attention for just a few seconds, right? Yeah, I had fun. That's the only time we've lost power that I know of. Our tradition for New Year's, I mentioned it, we always go up to my folks' house, and we always go out as soon as New Year's hits. We all get pots and pans. We go out in the front yard. We just bang pots and pans. The kids, when they're little, they love that. They go out there banging away. And my nieces and nephews, they still love it. As the kids get older, they're like, yeah, I don't really care about banging pots and pans out in the front yard so much. And so it loses some of its allure after a little while. But we always do that. The other thing we always do is we always have these huge risk tournaments, or Monopoly, Ticket to Ride, different board games. We'll pull all those out all New Year's Eve and just play as a family, all the different games. But Risk is a big one. Risk is the game we play it all the time. It's and I talked about Risk when I was auditioning for Big Brother. I had a lot of people say, Cliff, why do you think you'd be good at Big Brother? I'd say, because I'm really good at Risk, because I play the board game Risk and I always win because I figured out it wasn't just figuring out the best way to use the rules. It's all about social game and manipulation and convincing other people that you're stronger than you are, or someone else is a bigger threat than you are. And I really feel like I cut my teeth on how to play Big Brother by playing Risk with everyone else in my family, because we were cutthroat. There wasn't any slack. When my kids won at Risk, they knew it's because they truly won, not because anyone handed it to them. And we'd have little 6-7-year-olds trying to learn the game, playing with their dad or mom initially, and then later playing on their own. And it didn't matter how young you were. If you weren't playing the game, you were getting cut. You're getting sent out of that game. And now they're all fantastic. So yeah, we played a lot of Risk. Amanda, we just watched Searching for Bobby Fischer on Netflix. Good movie. I feel like watching now that I've watched Queen's Gambit, and it kind of got me a little more involved with chess and wanting to go back and play some chess again. So maybe I need to watch that, because I've heard some of the stories from Bobby Fischer. I've heard some of the Queen's Gambit was actually based on some of the things that happened in Bobby Fischer's life in terms of playing the Russians, things like that. He was kind of a quirky individual, from what I've heard. Not like I've met him or anything, but yeah, I've always heard little bits and pieces about Bobby Fischer, but I don't know that much about him. So maybe I got to put that on my list, just like so many other things that I'm going to be watching. All right, I'm going to scoot up again because I just can't keep up with you guys. My mouth's talking so fast I can't keep up with it. Got Carol Lindley, Eric Shea, and Pamela Sue Martin's autographs on it. Cindy saying, hey, Pamela Sue Martin. She was on Little House on the Prairie, wasn't she? Yeah, I remember things like that. If that's the same Pamela. 1972, Anthony Stike saying, okay, thank you. I was pretty close. Gosh, so I was 7 years old. That's an intense movie to watch as a 7-year-old. And Ma saying, I'm 55. I thought he was 53, 50. Ma, I was 53 when I went into the Big Brother house, but I am now 55. So, yeah, a couple of years since I've been inside. Doesn't seem like it, does it? A year and a half since I've been in the house, I guess so. Lawrence saying, have you seen Soul? No, I haven't, but I've been told that I need to watch it. I think it's on Disney Plus, so I'm going to. Kelly, my daughter, pointed out, said, yeah, she wanted to watch Soul, so we're going to watch that as well. Just haven't happened quite yet. How about Roller Coaster from 1977? I kind of remember that show, but I remember the song a whole lot more. Roller Coaster, yeah, roller. That's all y'all want to hear from my singing. But yeah, I remember Roller Coaster, the song, more than I take that. Cindy, I remember that. Wasn't there like a terrorist or just a mean person who'd cut part of the track or deactivated the brakes, and the whole movie builds up to the very end where they're on the roller coaster and it's not going to go off the end or something. I don't know. I don't remember. I'll tell you all this. I eventually worked at Six Flags over Texas, but as a kid, we had season passes because we lived in Arlington, where Six Flags is located. And my brother Robert and I would go out to Six Flags all the time and ride the rides and everything. And we spent so much time riding some of the rides that were the more thrill seeker type rides, the looping coasters and the drops and things like that, because there was a rumor going around that if you ever were on one of those rides and it stopped, in order to keep you happy, they would give you all kinds of free food and stuffed animals and tokens to play all the games all day long and everything else. So we would ride those rides just with the hope that maybe the coaster would get stuck up on a hill or somewhere so that we could get all these freebies that the park would give us. We had no fear. As a 13, 14-year-old kid, you don't care. Oh, well, yeah, I'll get stuck on a coaster. I don't care if it's upside down and I'm hanging out from that. If it gets me a free Coke and a free hot dog or something, I could live with that. It'd be pretty good. So we always did that. So yeah, I kind of remember Roller Coaster, but again, I remember the song a lot more. I don't know if y'all know, the rumor was always that someone had actually been murdered during the making of the film Roller Coaster. If you listen, you can hear someone screaming in the background. It's someone that was out on the street or something that got murdered. These urban legends, they're so much fun. I remember there used to be one about the Beatles, Revolver Number 9. You play it backwards and do all kinds of stuff. I always heard that about Roller Coaster. That's what I remember the most about Roller Coaster, I do believe. Moss, elementary, middle school, I was obsessed with the I Survived series. All right, you know what I'm obsessed with, Ma? I Survived type things, but I also like the Locked Up Abroad, where these people go over to these countries and they decide they're going to transport drugs or they're going to do something just completely asinine and stupid. Usually it's drugs. And they get arrested and they're surprised when the jail system in Indonesia or Venezuela isn't quite what it is here in the United States. And it's like, come on, guy, when you leave the United States, don't expect that you're going to get your free phone call. Don't expect that you're going to get read your Miranda rights like we've got here, in Western countries. And so I used to always watch those, and I don't know why, because it's not like I've traveled all over the world. I was never tempted to smuggle drugs or anything else. I did smuggle a switchblade back to the United States when I was a teenager, but that was a different story, different time as well. I get thrown in those prisons for doing this stupid stuff. But yeah, I used to watch it as well. Maybe I just watch it just so I know that there's a whole lot of people out in this world that are a whole lot dumber than I am, because you kind of deserve what you get. But at the end of the show, I always feel sorry for him. I always cheer for him. Yeah, I know you tried to smuggle 20 pounds of hashish out of Malaysia, but I'm still feeling for you, man. You had a tough 40 years in jail or whatever. So yeah, I'm the same way, Ma. I kind of watch the shows, watching people having to use their wits again to survive. Maybe it's surviving an upside down ship. Maybe it's trying to survive some really mean people that are sleeping on the bunk up on top of you. All right, Ma asking for a tell a switchblade story. I don't know. I shouldn't even brought that up, but I will now. When I was 16, I went to Mexico City, actually Cuernavaca, with a church group. And we lived in a decommissioned orphanage for a couple of weeks. And we did all kinds of work in the orphanage to get it back up to speed. We painted it, we cleaned it, just did different things because they wanted to reopen this orphanage up. And so I did that for a couple of weeks. Well, my brother, who was a year and a half younger, Robert, had said, hey, if you get a chance, buy a switchblade because they're legal in Mexico. And I'd love to have one because they're not legal here in Texas. I don't know what he needed a switchblade for, just to be cool. And when you hit the one and the little comb comes out, like we saw at Six Flags, that wasn't so cool. He wanted a real one. So I said, okay, if I get a chance. So sure enough, I'm in a little flea market on one of our little trips while we're down there. And I see a switchblade for sale. And it's like $5. I mean, it's cheap. So I said, oh, okay, yeah, I'll buy a switchblade. Because when I came into Mexico City, as we walked through the airport, I didn't see as we walked out any metal detectors or security or anything. Again, different age. This is back in the 70s, I guess. Maybe 1980, 1981, something like that. So I buy the switchblade. And when it's time to fly back to the United States, I tug it in my boot. I put it in my sock because I don't want to have on my luggage where people may find it and all that. And sure enough, we walk in the airport, no issues at all. What I didn't realize was that the metal detectors weren't where you walk into the airport. They were at the individual gates when you're flying on an international flight. And so as we walk through, here's this metal detector, and here are two military personnel with scary looking M16 type rifles standing on either side saying, I'm delaying, going through. I couldn't stop. I couldn't do anything. I walked through that metal detector. Oh, you talk about looking guilty. I walked through that metal detector. As I walked through, I swung my leg so fast through that thing and just waiting for someone to grab me by the shoulder. It did not go off. And I don't know if it's just because they weren't tuned that finely back then because I had too many false alarms or something. Maybe it was for show. Maybe it's the fact that the switchblade I bought was about 99% plastic to begin with. It was just one piece of little cheapo metal, and that was about it. The whole, I don't know. All I know was that old 15-year-old Cliff Hogg was a little panicky at that point in time. And once I made it through, it was like, oh, okay, this is horrible. So I gave that to my brother when I got home, and I told him, I said, you better appreciate that. Yeah, there is no gift that you will ever give me that equates what I went through to get that one for you. I don't know what I would have done if my parents had gotten a phone call saying, yeah, we didn't come back with your son because he decided to be a little smart aleck and try to bring a switchblade. So there you go, Ma. That's my one brush with troublemaking. Ever since when I've gone overseas, I'm very cognizant. I'm very aware. I don't mess with the people. The people in control, hey, you're whatever you want me to do. I'm good. I've been in too many close situations where there could have been issues. I'm not gonna make it worse by trying to do anything on my own. So yeah, but there's your switchblade story. Never doing that again, Ma. I promise you that. All right, let's see. Let me go back up to these comments as well. Risk is available to play online or a tabletop simulator. Angie said, I used to play a Risk online for a while. And there's some other games, Triple A or something. There's so many games online. And it's fun, but it's just not the same as sitting around the table yelling at each other and saying, oh, why would you ever attack me? He's going to just come back and get you. And it's the interaction. It's kind of like playing Big Brother online. I know CBS has their Big Brother game or someone has their Big Brother game online versus actually playing it in the house. Yeah, they're both fun. But the idea that you're just right there in the house, it's 24 hours a day and there's no escaping it. It's just a whole different level. And I feel the same way about playing a board game, right there. Having said that, Angie does the Jackbox. I played with you that one. That's a lot of fun. I had a blast that particular evening. But yeah, when you're playing the game right there, you're getting in people's faces, your family, and you're saying, you take me out, you're down. I'm taking you out if you go after me. It just lends a whole nother level of excitement to the entire game. All right, Mitch. Yeah, a buried paw could be heard when turning the record backwards. I forgot. I think that was the White Album, if I recall. But it's been a while since I've done my Beatles trivia. So who knows? Lawrence Santiago, Maria Full of Grace is a great film about drug transport. I don't think I've seen that one. The one that scared me as a slightly older teenager, I think the Midnight Express, about the guy that tries to smuggle stuff out of Turkey and gets arrested, thrown in jail. That's a rough one. Hey, I'm not done telling you guys. I'm not doing that. I don't. You couldn't pay me enough money to get involved with that kind of stuff. That would be horrible. Ma saying compete on The Voice. Yeah. Thanks, Ma. And that'd be like, I don't know if y'all remember on American Idol, William Hung got out there and did she bangs and danced, and he lasted forever because everyone thought it was hilarious. They were voting not because they loved his voice, but because it was just a big, big joke. That'd be me. I've had people tell me before, Cliff, you got a wonderful shower voice. That's like saying you have a wonderful face for comedy. Do you take that as a compliment or not so much? I love I can sing Amazing Grace or some Elvis Presley in the shower where I get the echo off the walls and all that. It's fantastic. But put me in front of the voice judges, and yeah, I don't think a lot of chairs are turning around. That's probably not my forte. That, just like putting all the cloves of garlic in the spaghetti, maybe some areas I have to practice on just a little bit more before I go onto that show. All right, let's see what else. Last Man Standing is a great show. Yeah, Lauren, I like Last Man Standing. They've come back with a whole new season. I think their grandparents. I think they were grandparents already, but I've heard there's a new season that changed the format just a little bit. So no, I love I love Last Man Standing. I've just always liked what's the guy's name on it now? I've drawn a blank. I'll think of it in a second. The Call, Korean 2020 version on Netflix was freaky as heck. But some of those, Angie, some of those Korean flicks are Tim Allen. That's Tim Allen. It took me a second. Some of those Korean shows, the one I liked, I have not watched Parasite yet, which like Ovi, Kabir has said Parasite was one of his favorite movies of all time. I tried to watch that, but the version I found did not have the English subtitles, and my Korean's a little rusty, so I didn't watch that. But the Korean show that I really have liked that I've seen in the past was Last Train to Busan. It's all about zombies taking over and the train's trying to get away from them. Just amazing flick. I don't know if I've seen The Call yet or not, Angie. I don't recall, but maybe because I love those foreign flicks like that. I always like find those little gem in the rough that no one else knows about it. Ma saying I'd turn around the chair around for you. Well, Ma, maybe that says more about your ability to judge talent than about my ability to actually have talent. So I don't know. Yeah, Lauren, that Maria Full of Grace film about drug transport. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out as well. The other one I like, I don't know how we got on this topic, but Train Spotting with Ewan McGregor. If y'all have never seen that, now that's not about drug smuggling. That's about drug usage, and that's just that just give me the heebie-jeebies when I even think about that show. It took me about half the show the first time I watched it just to pick up on the Scottish drug, the accents. Sometimes a little hard to understand. First couple of times I ever went to Aberdeen, Scotland, I just almost couldn't get in a taxi cab because I don't know why the folks that drive the taxi have the worst Scottish accents of anyone, but they do. Because I would get in the car and I'd start talking to someone and we're both speaking English, but I'm not understanding anything they're saying at all. Well, now that I've been over there enough times and I can pick up on the little particulars of the Scottish accent and everything else, it's no big deal. And so I know sometimes we'll watch some of those shows there from up in Scotland. I actually have to translate for Sharon. What are they saying? This, and this. So, yeah, it's tough. But I love Train Spotting. I have to watch Maria Full of Grace. I've heard of it. I just have never seen it before. Yeah, former Big Brother contestant arrested for drug smuggling. Lawrence, you can pretty much rest assured it ain't going to be me. I may throw out a couple of names of who maybe from past seasons maybe I would suspect could do something like that, but it ain't gonna be me, not at all. Angie, for the record, not related to William Hung. I really never suspected that. I didn't catch the last day. I didn't suspect that. Knowing all the people that you know, Angie, all the connections you have, yeah, William Hung was on his own different level. But hey, what does it say that someone with such an amazing, horrible voice could still be famous after 10, 15 years since he was on that show? We all make our marks in different ways. And for all I know, William Hung has a beautiful voice. He may have sung at his family's, his parents' 50th wedding anniversary or something. He may just be the most Ave Maria, just the most perfect voice you've ever heard. And he said, yeah, I'm probably still not going to win the American Idol. But if I sing bad, everyone will remember who I am. There's all kinds of paths to notoriety, and you pick the one that's going to get you there. I kind of think that's not the case. I bet he's probably not quite on the vocal level of that, but you never know. Strawberry Fields Forever. Okay, I thought it was a White Album. Now, who knows? The Beatles probably have a few of them out there like that. I know there's one, if you play it backwards, says, turn me on, dead man, turn me on, dead man, turn me on, dead man. Back in the old days, I don't know. I guess there's programs and apps now that you can play records backwards, but in the old days when we actually had the vinyl, it was super easy. You just put it on there and you use your finger and you turn it backwards and you spend there all day spinning that thing, trying to talk with your friends about what you think it's saying. Then you get into CDs and cassette tapes and things like that. Not so easy to do once that came along. So I'll take your word for it on what album it was. Someone was arrested. It wasn't Mike Boogie. And it's not going to be me either. It better not be. Oh, yeah. Tracy Crazy. The one who asked questions about Casey on your last challenge vid. I like Casey. And I think, are you the one that asked about, she had an injury of some sort. And I don't know that she's ever really revealed exactly what caused it, but I think she had to get some surgery on her knee or her leg. I think it's her knee. So it wouldn't surprise me if you find out either the challenge finale or somewhere towards the end, something happened that caused Casey to get injured. No, Lord knows she's going to give it everything she's got. And she's kind of a badass when it comes to the physical challenges. So it wouldn't surprise me if something didn't happen. I hope not. I'm cheering for her. She's a Big Brother alum and I've met her once, seemed like a super nice person. So she came so close last time. I want Casey to be in the final this time, and I hope she didn't have any severe injury. But I guess we'll find out here in a couple of months, right? Ma saying, what accents can you do, Cliff? I don't know. Texan? That one comes pretty easy for me. I could, you got me on the spot. I can't tell you any other ones. And here's the thing. Even if I could do an accent, it probably would be offensive to whatever person I'm trying to do it on. You got to be careful nowadays. Yeah, you may be doing it with nothing but humor and compliments and everything aside, but someone could still get upset. I could do a New York accent after hanging out with Nicole and Tommy and them. Corner, walk the dog. There you go. That's about it for me. It's funny when we did we were inside the house, and I think Tommy and Holly dressed up as a trucker from Texas or something. And then I think Tommy did something similar. And I seem to recall one or both approaching myself and I think Kat and saying, look, is this offensive? Are y'all going to be upset if we kind of make fun of y'all's accents and all of that? And I said, no, you're not going to, it doesn't faze me at all. You do whatever parodies you want of the South, of rednecks, of Texas. I don't care. That's the last thing I'm going to worry about while I'm sitting there in this house. And so they did it. It didn't faze me at all. But man, there's some people that get sensitive if they think, I think mainly if they think the intent is to make fun of them as opposed to just enjoying the variety of voices and everything that we have on here. But yeah, Ma, I don't have any others than you got New York, and that's probably all that you're getting from me. Lawrence Santiago, if you like the Birds, you'll love Birdemic. Well, I love the Birds, Tippi Hedren, and that movie kind of scared. I watched that at my grandmother's house, and I think she will make us watch. She'd make it. She probably watch it just to get us a little nervous about birds. But yeah, that movie scared me. That Birds and Psycho were the two Hitchcock movies that really scared me when I was younger. Yeah, I'm telling Nicole about that. Nicole hated birds so much, and at the time I didn't think it was really that big a deal. Now I think it's truly a fear of Nicole's, because she still says she can't stand them at all. So I'll pass that recommendation on to Nicole. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. Ewan McGregor is back in Obi-Wan Kenobi, hopefully better than the prequels. Yeah, I watched the prequels. I was okay with it. There were a few things with those. Not a huge fan of Jar Jar Binks. I got to say that. As Anakin as a little kid and everything, I don't know. Maybe not my top choice, but I didn't hate him as much as other people hated him, because I was more interested in just the storyline itself. But yeah, so Obi-Wan is back. Okay, well, I like Ewan McGregor. I like he does Long Way Around, where he got on a motorcycle with a buddy of his, Charlie Borman, and they just drove all around they drove east to west to east. I think they drove west to east, circled the road, the whole globe. Then they started up in Alaska, came all the way down to South America. So they've done some travel adventures, which I've always enjoyed watching. All right, Angie, here, always the one with the information. William was recently interviewed, and it was nice to read. He acknowledged being made fun of, but let him achieve things too. Hey, I don't know. Go for it. I think he put out an album or two. I'm not putting out an album. You tell me that if I sing a little bit rougher than I actually do, I can sell some records. Well, maybe I'll consider it as well. So I don't know. I like William Hogg. I was cheered for him. Do y'all remember what was the name of there used to be a website that would intentionally try to screw up the results of American Idol by getting everyone to vote for who they considered to be the worst person that was left in the show. I kind of like the rebellious attitude of that, to just screw things up, gum them up a little bit. Glad y'all didn't do that on Big Brother. I hope you didn't do it. America's choice. I hope there wasn't a whole contingent out there of saying, "Oh, vote for the person who least deserves it," or I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, it's kind of fun to see rebels get together and try to influence some of these media events that we see. Oh my gosh, it is 7:57. I feel like I've just barely scraped what I was even going to talk about, but that's all right. Nothing better than the original Star Wars movies. I absolutely agree, Angie. Oh, I actually read the book Star Wars before I saw the movie, and I don't know how that worked out. I think the Scholastic, when you went to school, you used to be able to order books, and my parents would always let us order 1 or 2 books. And Star Wars had just come out, so I ordered Star Wars. I read the book first, and then eventually convinced my family to go see Star Wars. Just as a little aside, I remember going to the Cinema 6 or whatever, 6 screens, which was a big deal back then. And we were watching Smokey and the Bandit, and I got up to take, Smokey and the Bandit, which I love, but got up to take a little bathroom break. And as I passed by the theater watching Star Wars, I poked my head in and saw about 2 minutes of it. And it's the scene at the end where Luke and where Obi-Wan and Darth Vader are fighting each other, and Luke's watching them from the corners while they're on the Death Star. I just saw about 2 minutes of that, and I went in, and as soon as Smoking and Band was over, I told my parents that we have got to come back and watch Star Wars. I have got to watch that. And they said, yeah, okay, we'll come back next weekend. And we did, and I've been a fan ever since. I have not seen the most recent versions, the Star Wars prequels. I just I need to. I want to. I just haven't had enough hours in the day. Yeah, it was Cindy. I was in a movie with Kato Kalin. Well, with someone like Kato, man, I can't believe I missed it. You guys send me the details. Either post it out here later. I'm getting ready to shut off, so I may not have time now. But send me a DM. Tell me the details about that so I can watch it. We got so many celebrities out here on these comments, guys. Man, I learn something new about y'all every single day, and it is the most exciting part of doing these things. So. I know why I want the details, Cindy. I need the details. Anthony, I was 10 the first time I saw the birds. It's the only movie that ever scared me. Kind of creeped me out, especially because I don't know if y'all have it in other cities, but here in Houston, in this part of the state, the country, we've got, I think they call them grackles, and they look like crows. They're just these black birds that make these noises, and they congregate 1,000 at a time. You wonder how the wires, utility wires even stay up, because these things are just lined up. But the other thing they'll do is they'll land on a parking lot, and they'll just be covering the cars. They'll be on the asphalt area. It looks like a carpet, just an absolute carpet of black, because all these birds congregate so much, and you can't get rid of them. They've tried to fire cannons. They've tried to poison them, which upset a lot of people. So they stopped doing that. But they've tried to fire off cannons, do all kinds of things to get these birds to fly away. It doesn't work. They're just everywhere, and they are the creepiest thing in the world. They don't attack you most of the time. One of those attacks me. You think I can run fast on Big Brother when I'm playing for HOH? Wait till there's about 10,000 birds chasing after me, and you'll see me fly. I'll be the whole new Superman doing that. So, yeah, that was the crackles are they're kind of scary. All right, who is your least favorite house guest of your season and Big Brother 20 of Big Brother? Oh, Tracy, I'm not gonna say. I'm trying to stay positive out here, and I'll be honest. I really don't have any least favorites. I mean, there are people that I worked with because it worked strategically. It was to my advantage. There are people that I didn't work with because it just didn't make sense, because they either didn't have power at the time or because they were too powerful. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons of who I worked with or didn't work with. But there's no one on my season that I say I dislike. And least favorite, I don't have any least favorites either. It's just some people I knew more than others because I spent more time in the house with them. So we all came in so different from each other, and it was so cool meeting everyone. I don't have any least favorites. I truly don't. I don't. So I didn't like Sam and Big Brother 20. She was unique. She's kind of left the whole Big Brother. She doesn't get involved in social media or anything else, but she was unique. Yeah, she kind of went after some people and all that. And, we all have our good moments and our bad moments in that house. And I've made a promise a long time ago. I'm not criticizing anyone after being through there and knowing the stress and what goes on and everything else. And, you do the best you can while you're in a house, whether it's good or bad. It is what it is. So I'm not saying anything bad about Sam either. She was fun to watch. She had her moments, just like a lot of us do. But that's all right. Are you friends with anyone from your season in Big Brother 20? Friends with almost everyone from my season. I'd be happy to talk to anyone my season. From Big Brother 20, oh, there's a few. Angela and Casey and Tyler and JC and Fessy and Haley. I've met all of them and talked to them. And I don't talk to them all the time, but I consider all of them friends. So, all right, I think we're going to have to shut down. But let's see, what else? All right, Lawrence. As I talk about, you never know what you're going to find out on this show. Your dad bought the Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit. All right, now that is cool. That is, you know what? If I had that Trans Am, you would see so many goofy, cheesy pictures of me sitting on top of that thing, wearing a cowboy hat, and going trying to do that Burt Reynolds laugh. I'd have to grow a mustache just like him, just to try to do the Burt Reynolds look and everything. That is cool. All right. I am suitably impressed. That is one of the vehicles that is so iconic through all the years of filmmaking. The Smokey the Bandit Trans Am. Thumbs up, my friend. That is really cool. So all right, let's see what it's. All right, it's 8:03. I got to shut it down. I wish I could do more, maybe, but I can't. I'll leave it hanging a little bit. So we'll follow up next week. But yeah, Tracy Casey is a great person. She won as well, and she played a great game. So yeah, and again, everyone on the challenge, Big Brother alums, I'm certainly cheering for them, and that certainly includes Casey and Fessy and all the rest of them. All right, guys, we're gonna shut it down. It's 8:03, can't believe it. All right, but we didn't have the challenge last week, but we're gonna have it this Wednesday. So for those of you watching the challenge, I'm gonna try to do an episode recap. I'll try to drop that sometime on Thursday, so y'all be watching out for that. Next week, y'all give me your thoughts, your opinions on that. If I can convince my kids, Daniel and or Kelly, to do it, I'm gonna try to bring in one or both of them onto the show. Maybe let them talk a little bit about what it was like to have their dad show up on Big Brother and some of the things they went through and all that. So if we can make it work, we may try to do that. But in the meanwhile, guys, first of all, SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love all of y'all out here. Thank you again for showing up, and love the conversation. And I learned so much about so many. The best part of doing this show is just the interaction. So thank y'all for the information. Y'all have a fantastic rest of the first week of 2021. We made it. We made it through 2020. Everything is positive. Everything is looking up. Y'all have a great one, guys. I will see y'all again next week if I don't see y'all before then. Again, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.